So you're trying to figure out what iconic city in California to move to, or maybe you're already here, but you're trying to find a new one. Well, in this video, we're gonna explore San Francisco versus San Diego, and we're gonna deep dive on all their differences. The good, bad, the ugly, everything in between. And we're gonna attempt to hold an unbiased, just straight look at what makes one city better than another in different categories, whether it be cost of living, lifestyle, culture, things to do, entertainment, you name it. We're gonna dive into it in this very video. So if you're ready for the battle of San Francisco versus San Diego, stick with us because we're gonna get after it right now. All right, let's knock off the very important but less exciting piece of this just off the bat, get it out of the way. Cost of living. So in San Diego, average price point, I should say median price point for a single family home, $957,000, while in San Francisco, $1.2 million. So more expensive there. Rents in San Diego, a nudge under $3,000 a month, while in San Francisco, $3,300 a month on average. And household incomes though in San Diego, has to be mentioned, are $100,000 on average for household income. And in San Francisco, $136,000, which does make up for some of that gap. Nevertheless, some of the city taxes in San Francisco more expensive than the city taxes here in San Diego. In fact, sales tax in San Diego is 7.75%, while in San Francisco, they're gonna reach into your pocket to the tune of 8.63% on all of your sales tax. And that makes a big difference. So there's some back and forth there. Yes, they will earn more on average. Having said that, everything is going to be more expensive, including the tax side. And that doesn't take into account some of the other local property taxes that will be higher in the San Francisco area. Now, those are the statistics, but what do we actually see on the ground here every single day working in real estate? We see that San Diego, while it's had a migration out of state, we've also seen an immigration, okay? So an inflow of people down from the Bay Area where it's far more expensive down to here where it feels more livable, more affordable, but also more relaxed. And so it's just interesting to see how people are moving down south from the northern part of our state into San Diego, while San Diegans sometimes are trying to find refuge on price out of state. And there's really no wonder why, because that's also tied to lifestyle. Lifestyle is something that you couldn't really have any different for being in the same state. You would think that there'd be some similarities, but aside from the fact that we're both in California and we're both on the coast, that's pretty much where the similarities end and a whole bunch of differences. Now let's just talk generalities here really quickly, and then we're gonna deep dive into some specific areas of lifestyle and culture. But San Diego has a more beachy, laid back, easygoing lifestyle, and enjoying your life here while it is an expensive city is not an expensive thing to do. And that's because there are just so many free activities that are outdoor driven, right? The ocean, our beaches are public. I mean, it's not like in some areas where it costs money to go to the beach, costs money to access everything. There is so much just abundance of just beautiful natural sights. In fact, it's pretty much every day that I think to myself, wow, like this sunset or this mountain view, this, you know, this walk on the beach, literally, like Bill Gates as an example, cannot do this better, enjoy it more. It is really the universal thing that all of us get to enjoy. It's a great thing about San Diego. There's an abundance of what to do inexpensively or for free that is provided to us by the outdoors. Now, San Francisco, on the other hand, is a city, okay? It's a city. In fact, you can think of it as New York City West. It's driven around the financial industry. It's hustle and bustle, and there's definitely a very different energy around that. Some positives, you'll see people kind of dressed up more, right? In a city type way. You'll see more suits. And look, if that's your preferred environment, you're going to love San Francisco. Now, from a prettiness standpoint, as beautiful as San Diego is, and I think that there is really no place more beautiful than San Diego in its entirety, but when you talk about cities, there's no more beautiful city than San Francisco. And what I mean is, in the built up areas, San Diego has so much more kind of open spaces and things that provide beauty. But in terms of a downtown New York City, Manhattan type feel, there might not be a more beautiful city than San Francisco outside of Europe. Okay, that's how beautiful the place is. Having said that, I have to mention it on this video that there are a lot of unfortunate things, as you know, as you've seen in the news, as you've heard, and it is all very true in terms of litter and pollution and just the street activity. And there's just a lot of issues locally there, a lot of local political and government issues that I try to steer from on these videos. It's really not my place to speak on, but it would just not be a genuine video if it wasn't mentioned that they do have problems that they're working on, they're trying to sort out, and that's one of the primary drivers of why some people from the Bay Area are moving south, trying to find refuge in a place like San Diego. So from that standpoint, it's just something to know. Please look up the statistics yourself, plus things change, and I only have the information as of the time of this recording, but something you want to look into. Now, let me interrupt before we continue on. I'm Dan Beer, and I love doing this. We have Beer Home Team here helping people move within San Diego and to San Diego from anywhere in the country. Just go to the first comment. I've provided a number of ways for you to easily reach us, and we can help you make a smooth move with anything you're looking for. Oh, and one more thing, subscribe to the channel so you're the first to know of any changing market conditions here in San Diego, and feel free to share it because I am going to create any video you're looking for to give you a clear understanding of what it is that San Diego is all about. Now let's jump quickly to weather. So average summertime weather in San Francisco is 67 degrees, while in San Diego 76 degrees. So the answer to that, what's better, what's worse, that's gonna be completely up to you on what you prefer. For me, I'm not a big heat guy, so there's a reason that I'm not in a Phoenix or a Las Vegas. I just cannot be in that environment in the summer, right, where you're gonna start hitting 90 and 100, 110. That's just not for me at all. But in San Diego, a 76-degree average summertime temperature, just awesome. Now, are we gonna have our days where we spike into the 85 range and even touch 90 for a few days a year? Of course. But on average, we're gonna be in those 70s, and it's beautiful. Now, if you prefer a more temperate, like not so warm, then San Francisco in the summer, look, 67, it's beautiful and you can get around more. And because it's a city environment, not so much a beach environment, you also can just afford the luxury of a light little coat, little jacket, and you'll love the summers. Having said that, wintertime, San Francisco is gonna have an average temperature of 58 compared to in San Diego, 67. It's almost a 10-degree temperature difference between the two places. Now, one big difference is gonna be precipitation. San Francisco is going to see 23 inches of rain on average, while San Diego will only see 10. So big difference, 10 inches versus 23. And also you just get more variance, kind of more just, hey, it's hot one day, raining the next, it's cold, it's hot, it's warm, it's windy. San Francisco is much more variance, less steady. San Diego is the steady Eddie weather place, right? It's just sort of day in, day out, much of the same. Now, for a lot of us, it's what we adore about San Diego, but we do not have the seasons, and in the Bay Area they do. So if the seasons and more, trees changing color and all that are important to you, something to think about, that'll be a notch in the belt for San Francisco and the Bay Area. But in San Diego, if you just kind of enjoy really nice weather that you can enjoy year round, and look, 365 days in the year, does that mean that there aren't 20-something days where I'm hiding inside because there's rain or what? Of course. But this is, by the way, without looking it up, but just based on the way it feels like about 340 days of the year or so, I can basically do anything I want, be out, enjoy, take a walk on the beach, whether it's warm, cold, winter, summer, doesn't matter. That's just the difference between wearing a little coat or being in shorts. But at the end of the day, I get to enjoy my life year round when in this town. Now let's quickly talk transportation, and I'll just get right to it. I think San Francisco wipes the floor with San Diego, okay? Far better, far more complete. They have a number of systems there. And that's actually one of the nice and bad things. Bad because it makes it a little confusing to talk about, because it's actually kind of a series of regional systems. Remember, they have the East Bay, right? That's what's Oakland, Berkeley, that whole area. There's San Francisco. There's, of course, the South Bay. So there's all these different regions to it. BART is probably the most recognized when we talk about San Francisco transportation. The BART's an above ground and also underground rail system connecting the East Bay with San Francisco itself. And it's an amazing way to get around, also from the airport, really great way to get around, but not the main way to get around when you're inside of San Francisco traveling. So if you're trying to travel within San Francisco, that's where the cable cars come into play, the light rail, and that would be the way to transport yourself there. There's an amazing bus system as well. So I have to say, from a public transport standpoint, there's no doubt that San Francisco's got it. Because what do we have in San Diego? Well, let's take a look at the big list. Freeways, roads, and pretty much that's it. In addition to, yes, we do have the trolley system. Now, not a lot of people use the trolley. There is a bus system, but it's a thing where you're gonna be just stuck on the freeway, or the trolley is such limited locations that it's not the most practical way unless you happen to live and work right on one of the few routes. So for the most part, if you're gonna be in San Diego, 100% plan on owning a car, and it's just simply what we have here, whether it's good or bad. Why good, why bad? Well, good because everyone does have a vehicle, which means that we tend to use so much of the city so freely. It's not rare for us to say, hey, friend, I'm gonna go down and have dinner at your home 25 minutes away, or come on over, meet me at this part, right? Like, we are using the whole county. You could live in wherever and do something in Oceanside and do something in Chula Vista or downtown San Diego, Hillcrest, North Park, and they're pretty spread out locations, but we use it all. That's the nice thing. The bad thing is you can be in your car some. Now you can make the most of it the way I do and use it for either connecting with friends and family time on the phone or listening to a good podcast. But in any case, if you don't like being on the road, San Diego is not gonna maybe do it for you, because it's definitely an on-the-road type of town, while San Francisco has a really dialed-in public transport system. Now let's go and talk about the job market. In San Diego, very much driven by biotech, telecom, pharmaceuticals, and aerospace as well. While San Francisco, it's dominated by the banking industry. It is definitely the banking capital of the Western United States, or really the banking capital of the United States outside of New York City. And of course, Charlotte. Charlotte has a ton of banking as well. But San Francisco also has a lot of opportunities in healthcare and in tourism. San Diego tourism too, but San Francisco still edges it out there. And I haven't even mentioned the big one, right? Which is Silicon Valley, tech. It is the tech capital. It's the home of Apple and Google and you name it. They're obviously known for their tech industry. These tech companies, of course, offering sometimes such high pay that it's no wonder that pricing and housing and everything tends to be more. They earn more, but they pay more. And a lot of that being driven by the just seemingly never stopping tech industry that is found in San Francisco. And of course, San Diego, we have some of ours. Apple, in fact, just bought an entire campus and moving 5,000 workers to San Diego. So we have our tech scene, but no way you could ever say that it even holds a candle to theirs. Ours is driven more by the other industries that I mentioned. Now, when we start talking about culture and entertainment, look, there's a reason some people, a lot of people, millions of people, put up with a lot of the bad side of San Francisco. And it has its bad side. There's no doubt about it. I mean, it's just simply walk down the streets in some places, you're gonna be holding onto your wallet and make sure it doesn't get ripped off your body, right? I mean, those are true facts. But there's so much in terms of theater, in terms of museums, culture. It is a place where you could very well eat. Let's just talk about food and restaurants. You can eat in San Francisco the way you can eat in a New York City or in, say, a Mexico City. So it's one of the food capitals of the world. Some of the very best restaurants located there in San Francisco. Just examples of the type of theater alone that you can find there would be the San Francisco Opera, one of the best in the nation, San Francisco Symphony, the American Conservatory Theater. And additionally, there's neighborhoods like the Mission District and SoMa, which is short for South of Market and home to galleries and just independent art spaces. It really is so much that is offered in San Francisco. And even if you think about the history of the music scene, back to the Woodstock days, the 60s, just everything that came out of there. It's a place that's authentic, it's not manufactured, it really has the history. And if that is something that you love, that's important to you, that you really will feel it there. So that's something that definitely we can all appreciate about San Francisco, whether you choose to live there or just visit. While San Diego is more about, I've already mentioned the outdoors, whether it's that you're surfing in one of our many surf locations that even sometimes the locals don't know about unless they're surfers, to some of our very popular beaches like La Jolla Shores or Del Mar, Carlsbad. I mean, there are some of the most beautiful beaches across California that are located here. And Coronado, I mean, my God, just a perfect place, but it's more laid back. Culturally, you can also feel that. And because of that, we tend to get less theater, less arts, less symphonies, concerts. There could be a big concert tour that's going across the world even, or certainly across the United States. And yeah, often they'll come here. Of course they will. I mean, the biggest stars of all, from whether it be Rolling Stones or Jay-Z, Beyonce, or Morgan Wallen, you name it. But also there's gonna be the ones that are like, how come they didn't end up here? But they did 3 shows in San Francisco. Like, could we have gotten one? And that's gonna happen too. Now, having said that, if you're a beer fan, craft beer scene, lights out. Probably the best in the nation, right there with Denver. So Stone Brewery, which is here, huge, of course, known across the country. Ballast Point, which is here, huge and known across the country. And then other just really amazing ones that are just blossoming, like Modern Times or Belching Beaver, among so many others, that if it's your scene and you want a craft beer scene, it's really, some people even call it the Napa of beer. But if you're into wine and you're in San Francisco, well, you got Napa right there. We got a wine scene, but it's just simply nothing like it, right? I mean, our wine scene is in Temecula or even south of the border, which is a beautiful place called Valle de Guadalupe. But for quality wine, yes, it is wonderful that San Francisco is in such close proximity to great wine. And I'll just end with this, which is access. San Diego is a little bit more isolated. Okay, so we have direct flights to a lot of locations across the country, but they're mostly going to be to big cities. While San Francisco, being a hub, has access to so many more places that you could get to both nationally and internationally, where sometimes we're having to connect to San Francisco to get somewhere, again, whether it's locally or particularly overseas. In San Francisco, you're just going to hop on the flight, be there, and you're going to have a lot more access. So depending on the importance of that for you, which for me, it actually is tremendously important. I just love and appreciate the other aspects of the lifestyle here in San Diego, which is why I call this home. I love the weather. It is something that people, it almost sounds like a cliche that people overstate, but the way I see it is that I get to live my life all year round, not dictated by the weatherman, but rather by what I want to do. And so I still choose this, but yes, I travel a lot, and sometimes I stare at the routes that are going out of San Francisco, and I think, gee, man, I wish we had that. That would be nice. Now, there's a lot more that we could probably dive into, but why don't we do that in the comments? Go to the comments, ask me about anything. What do you think about this versus that? I answer every comment personally. And by the way, I'm Dan Beer with Beer Home Team here at eXp Realty. Anything that we could do to help you make a smooth move within San Diego or to San Diego, you just let us know. You can go to the first comment. It's pinned there, where you have access to email, text, phone calls, or setting up a Zoom call with us, and we'd love to hang out with you in person. So let us know how we can help with that. And don't forget, make sure you subscribe, tap that bell for notifications so you're the first to know of any changing market conditions here in San Diego, and that we continue interesting conversations like this. I'm Dan Beer, and I'll see you on the next video.